I'm Marion. I'm part of the Bandon Community First Responders. We've been asked to come here to the Bandon Co-op today to speak on emergencies that can occur on a farm for Farm Safety Week. We respond to cardiac arrest, chest pain, strokes and choking. We work with the National Ambulance Service, and when somebody dials 999 or 112 asking for assistance with any of these cases, then we respond and act as kind of the bridge until the paramedics arrive on the scene.
Well, first I'd like to say there's about approximately 5,000 cardiac arrests every year, and 70% of those cardiac arrests happen outside the home, okay? It can happen anytime, anyone, any place, okay, at any age. So what I want to say about a cardiac arrest is it's very important to get CPR and a defibrillator on someone as quick as possible, because every minute after a cardiac arrest, the body will start to die 7 to 10%. Okay, so it's very important to get a defibrillator on and do CPR on a cardiac arrest. So the signs and symptoms of a cardiac arrest, okay, what happens is the heart will stop beating its normal rhythm and go into what we call fibrillation. Once fibrillation starts, then oxygen won't get to the brain, and what happens, the person collapses. They won't breathe, and they'll be unconscious. So what Marion's doing here is checking to see if they're conscious, and is checking to see if they're breathing, okay, which is very important. All right, that's a good sign there's a cardiac arrest. The next thing Marion's going to do is going to call for help, all right, either 999 or 112, okay? It's important to get that chain of survival going, because otherwise you could be there for hours and nobody would know. Marion is straight onto the chest, okay? Marion's doing 30 compressions, okay? And as she's doing the compressions, what you're actually doing is you're actually taking over the pumping of the heart, which is allowing oxygen to get to the brain. Irene is coming in now, right? Every 30 compressions, we'll do 2 breaths. The reason is there's 17% oxygen you breathe out will be going into the casualty, sorry. So what's going to happen is the oxygen will get to the brain. So you're keeping that circulation going. So it's 30 compressions and 2 breaths. What we need to do, the heart is in fibrillation. What we need to do, we use a defibrillator. A defibrillator will actually shock the heart, stop the heart, okay, and then it'll re-energize, okay. Once it re-energizes, then the heart should go back into its normal rhythm. With defibrillation, is to get it on as quick as possible, because, as you say, after 10, 15 minutes there, this fibrillation will start to slow down and the machine won't recognize it. So once the defibrillator is going, okay, it'll start to recognize the rhythm, it'll charge. Important that no one else is touching the body or the casualty. For the simple reason is, once you press that, then the shock will be delivered there. If you're touching the casualty, you're going to get shocked as well. Now, it's a very tiring kind of situation, okay? So once you're doing these compressions constantly, so it's good to have a few people there so you can take over. So it is important to recognize the fact that early defibrillation, early CPR is very, very important. Okay.
In the event that you are on your own and when you come across the collapsed person, the important thing in the first part of your chain of survival is to get help. So you leave the person there, you go, you make your call, you dial 999 112. Be aware of where your nearest defibrillator is. If not, the ambulance service may be able to help you with this. But the most important part of the chain of survival is to call for help. Then you return to your collapsed person, and then you start your interventions. There's no point in doing your interventions if nobody is coming to aid you. So once that is done, once you've called for help, once you've given your information, where you're situated, your air code, then you go back and you start your interventions with the collapsed person. So this is the presentation for the adult, the collapsed adult, but it's the same treatment for a child that's found collapsed on a farm in your area nearby. If you're on your own, you go, you call for help, you do your 999, you access an AED if possible, get somebody to bring an AED, return to the child, start your chest compressions. You're making sure your scene is safe first, remove all items that may cause you to fall, and then remove any electrical goods that are around the area, stuff that might still be plugged in. And then you go, you're starting your CPR, you're doing your 30 compressions to 2 breaths, and you continue this until an AED arrives. The AED in a child, in a bigger child, an AED can be placed the exact same way as an adult, up high on the right side of the chest and under the left axilla. If the child is smaller, then the pads can go one on the front chest and one right behind. The important thing is that the pads don't meet. So again, you continue your compressions of 30 to 2, and then waiting for your AED, following the instructions and waiting for the emergency service to arrive.
I'd just like to say I hope you found these videos helpful and that they benefit you in your everyday work, and that hopefully prevention is better than cure, and that we're always looking for volunteers and band and first responders. So please contact us if you would like to volunteer.